It is tutorial time, and today we are going to be talking about the leg series, particularly the body setup, how the hell do you balance when you lift the arm, and just some key pointers that may help you through that. And then we're also going to touch on the bridge series and how to ensure that you are feeling your abs even when doing the bent leg, single leg stretch. That's a mouthful. All right, you all ready? Let's get started. The very first thing that we have to watch for is the stability of the standing hip. That's going to be this leg right here. So motion number one, this leg extends out, and I want to try to keep this leg perfectly stacked. So let me show you what it looks like if it doesn't stay stacked, okay? Here I'm going to extend out the leg. Did you see it? I sunk into this hip right here. Now, in this particular series, if you start with a sinking hip, it's going to be very, very difficult to ever come up to a balancing position. So let's talk about how you keep that hip stacked. The hip stays stacked because the core and the oblique deeply engage, all right? And it's not going to happen on your own. I say it with so much passion because I remember when I was trying to get this move and I could not figure out how to get that freaking hip stacked up. And one day I was like, oh, I have to turn my body on. I have to grip my muscles like I've never gripped before. See, I was just opening up that leg like, why won't it stay stacked? Why won't it stay stacked? And instead, it has to be abs pull in tight, tight, tight. I lean my weight toward the leg. I grip through my oblique. You pull your stomach in as hard as you would if you were doing, say, a plank position. Okay, now I know I'm being super, super expressive in my explanation of this exercise. I don't want you to feel like it's forceful and I'm forcing you in. So here's the thing. When you first start doing this exercise, all right, you have to really watch for the range of motion. So right now, my leg is out toward my 9 o'clock, okay? That's 9 o'clock for me. If my leg at 9 o'clock is where it's going to be the most difficult to keep the hip stacked. When I personally do this exercise, my leg doesn't hit 9 o'clock, watch. It goes out to 8 o'clock, okay? That's about where mine lands. Now you may need to take your leg back to 7 o'clock. It may feel better even back to like 6.5 o'clock, okay? You can play with it. The first thing that you have to do is figure out where can I extend my leg and pull my abs in tight without sinking into this hip. That's the spot that you must find first. So once again, I'm just gonna repeat it. Don't worry about trying to get your leg up here. Instead, let your leg go back further and just get the hip stack. In the second part, you get to turn open through that working leg. So I'm here, this is my working leg. This hip is going to lift up. And when this hip lifts up, I wanna take this leg and push it that way. Did you see that? There's a lot of oblique and core going on in this. So let me show you what it would be like the wrong way. I would try to lift that hip up and instead I would sink into this side. That's not where you want to be. It hurts both of your legs. It doesn't feel good from either side. So you have to actively push. So here we go. This hip's going to come up. This hip is going to push that way. There it is. And then I'm going to draw my stomach in. And now this next part, which I'll show you from another angle, but my hip is stacking up. My ribs are stacking up. My shoulders are stacking up. It's a chain reaction to lift up. First the hip stack, then the torso stacks, then the shoulder stacks, and that's how you get the arm up there, as opposed to trying to open and then just lift the arm, right? I don't end up having any stability in the base. Okay, so another chance to watch it here from the front. I'm going to start to lift the hip of the working leg. I'm going to engage through the abs, and I don't usually use this word, but I'm gonna use it. I wanna shove this hip over to the side. So it's going this way. It's really, gosh, you know what it's really like with the waistline? It's like the twisted plank position, right? See how here we take our hips and we move it to the side? Well, same sort of thing. You're taking your hips, you're moving it to the side. Same muscles engage. Now, here's one piece that I want to tell you. Your bottom leg, so this leg that's down here on the ground, for this position, it does not turn with you. Sometimes we do a position that looks like this. That's more like a kneeling side plank. But in this one, the bottom leg is staying still as you turn over. Another piece that will help you balance is your vision. So I would highly recommend keeping your eyes down at the mat as you work. I turned it to look at the camera, but as you work to lift the arm, you can keep your eyes down at the mat, because most certainly kicking a focal point to look at the entire time will help you with that balancing spot. Like, there's a point in the video where I fall over, I lose my balance in this as well, because by the way, it's going to happen, okay? But when I do it, it's because I lift my head and I look back at camera, and if I could keep my eyesight somewhat more still, it would have definitely helped me keep my center. When you are all the way extended in this exercise, it's gonna be hard to balance and show you this. So here, everything feels very open, extended, and lifted. So this glute is engaged, these belly muscles are engaged. I'm lifting away from the floor. You'll see I'm actually coming up to my fingertips. I'm pressing my chest forward. Everything is opening up. So when you get it, the feeling that you have will be kind of like a bit of a stretch open. If it hurts to kneel down on the floor and do this, and you've already tried some of the other tips, because I do think some of the other tips will help to take pressure off the knee, I want to make a note that you always have the option to double up your mat to give you more support. But I also want to show you this version that I've been playing with on a chair that you could definitely do. So it would go a little something like this. My working leg has a little bend, hands are on the chair. I would extend out, 1, 2. I'm reaching the leg up and around, same principles with the hip apply. Then you would see if you could lift the arm. If you get this, feel free to try to reach for the leg, but that's not the focus. This is where you step the foot forward toward the lunge. When everybody else is lifting their knee off the floor, you're going back to a lunge. Now you would stand up with everyone, lift, lower back down to the lunge, and then basically to get out of this, it's hands down, hit a plank, step your opposite leg forward, and then working leg reaches once again. Up, bring it through to the lunge, lift, stand. You'll still be working the exact same muscles that everyone else is. Before we finish, I definitely have to touch on the bridge, because what we're doing in the bridge this week is working to engage through our abdominals, through our core, without putting strain on other pieces of the body. And this is something that I'm very, very passionate about, and I want all of my clients to be able to do. So, you know, at the end of each become routine, I mean, you do this all the time with me, right? At the end of each become routine, we always hold our knees in tabletop, and I say it all the time. We focus on anchoring the tailbone, pulling the ribs down and in, and feeling our abs without seemingly doing anything else at all. This is actually a really, really tough move. Well, something similar is going on this week in the bridge. Only instead of having the knees up here, I actually have your feet down here. Now, by natural progression, this is technically the easier position. So this would be like level 1, level 2, level 3, okay? It is so important. It is so vital to get acquainted with level 1. You need to know how to make your body work at the foundation of the exercise and at the most challenging piece of the exercise. So in this spot, you're gonna press your feet firmly down to the ground, and then you're gonna really, really draw the belly downward and inward so that you feel the muscles engage. Now, when I say engage, it's not the same sensation that you would have if you were doing a bunch of crunches. This is surface, okay? The feeling that I'm getting you to go for here is deeper. Sometimes it's described as like a heavy brick coming down onto the stomach, pulling in. Now, if I can get this all stable, all right, all of this pulled down and in. I'm feeling my abs working right now. I'm gonna keep this while I bring a leg in. Tap and in. I'm even gonna tug it a little bit so that my belly muscles pull deeper. Now watch, I'm gonna do it the wrong way. I just released through my stomach, and right now, this doesn't feel like much of anything. In fact, it just kind of hurts my hip. I can actually feel my hip popping now as I'm going down and up. But when I change that, when I stabilize, anchor the ribs, and then go here, the hip pop is gone for me. It's not there anymore because I have firmed up the foundational pieces so that the other piece can move. So as you do this exercise, really driving the mind into the muscle, what does it mean to keep the torso still? And how many times can I say abs engaged? And the abs engaged while you move the other pieces of the leg. Good luck this week, everyone. Thanks for listening.